I want you to go into your handy dandy kit, open it up. You're going to need the reference sheet that has the owls on it, the owls. So get that reference sheet, set it down, and then you're going to need your strip of paper that is long. This is made out of watercolor paper. You'll need that strip. You will need a pencil and an eraser. And you will need your two small watercolor sheets. They look like this. Get two of those out. You might not need both of these, but we'll be prepared, okay? So what you need is pencil and eraser, two watercolor sheets, this strip, and your owl reference. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead, up that guys. Here I am. On this strip, on one side, you are going to draw and paint the texture of the owl's fur. So for example, what colors would you use on this one?
White and dark brown.
White, dark brown, and almost like a golden brown. So you would be using whites, browns, blacks, natural colors, and trying to get a pattern on here. You're going to be using both some marker, if you feel like you want to use marker. What happens with these markers is if you get them wet, they bleed. You're also going to be using watercolors, which does bleed over the surface. So it's going to be a combination of those. On this sheet of paper, whatever you have, if you have your watercolor or if you are using cardstock because you used your watercolor, you're going to draw the shape of two large owl eyes, and you're going to draw and paint in with watercolors those eyes. You're going to also do any horned pieces or mask areas around the eyes. You'll do a little beak and any like tufts of fur or anything you want to add to this strip. So it's going to be a combination of these two things. Okay, friends, so you should have a cup of water. You should have two brushes. You should have your watercolors. And you should have your animal pieces and your headbands. I hope you have all of those things. And then we'll make sure that we can start to put them together. All right, once you have these things, what you're going to do is you're going to add texture, owl texture, to your headbands. So I want you to take out your watercolor set, look at what colors are you going to be using. So for my owl, I know I'm going to be using browns and blacks, but I also want to do some oranges and yellows in mine. And so I'm going to be using a combination of those colors to make it look like owl feathers. And then I'm going to look at the eye color, and I'm going to put in the eyes. I'm going to try and do light colors first, and then add dark on top of that. So watercolors build in layers, and what we want to do is we want to make sure we build in colors. Okay, so I'm going to start with my large brush, and I'm going to do light colors first. So my owl that I'm looking at has kind of like a whitish, grayish background. So I'm going to use just a touch of black, and I'm going to move it over here onto my palette so that it doesn't get too black. I'm going to use this, and then I'm going to give myself a nice wash. So I'll add the black gray color, you know, like a wash. I'm adding a little bit of water, a little bit of the gray, and just kind of washing that gray on there. I don't want it too black because I'm gonna just start with grays. And this is my background layer. And then I'm going to put fur and feathers and all sorts of owl texture on there. So I'm just kind of trying to get it as even as possible. It's hard for you to see, I bet, the difference, but it is getting a little bit of gray on there. I'll add more browns and things on top. This is just my first layer. It's a wash. And it helps the page take more water later. So just some light brushes, some grays, and some water. Now I'm ready to add my browns. Oops. Too much black. What happens if you get too much? Here's what you can do. Just get your brush all watered down, push it around. There we go, that's better. All right, I don't want to overwork this. I don't want it too wet. All right, now I'm looking and I see some blacks, browns, and tans. So I'm gonna get an orange and I'm gonna mix it with a little bit of brown in my palette, getting a nice like tan. And then I'm gonna go back here to my headband and I'm just gonna start to do these little owl streaks. Okay. Just some markings on there. Just getting some markings. Go ahead, add your texture to your headband. That's one color. Just finding some little marks. All right. Now, maybe a little bit more orange and yellow. More orange and yellow. And I'll put that orange and yellow right next to it. I need more yellow in mine. Now, your next task is going to be to look at your owl tufts above your eyes, or if these are your ears, your owl ears, and then you're going to have to fill those in with color on both sides because you don't want it to show white on the backside. Excuse me. All right, so when I look at my owl, I see mine are mostly white on the edges. So I'll use the non-marker side for the front, white, and then browns on the interior of the ears. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that, and then I'm gonna look at the eyes, and I think that this is very interesting. Look at my owl eye. It has yellow-orange and a big black pupil. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, you can see this owl eye only has a little pupil. And I think a real owl, if you were to look, it does not have these big pupils like this. But that's a style choice you might make. So I'm going to go ahead and add color on both sides to my eyes and my eyebrows. All right, go ahead. Let's add that color. Remember, you can put black over the top. So I could paint this whole thing orange and then do black eyeballs over the top of it. Because watercolor is an additive process. So you can always add over the top. So I start with my light colors. The drier the brush, the stronger the color. Okay. Then I want to add a little bit of yellow, lighter colors. I'm going to take a bright and I'm going to add this yellow around the edge. Okay. And then I'm going to add on the other one, do both my eyes first. I'll add that orange color all over. Then I'll add my yellow on top. Trying to get it nice and even without working too much. You don't want to push too much water on there or too much brush strokes because it can hurt the paper, start to pill up a little bit. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm not overworking the paper. Okay. All right, now I'm ready for my black. Now I'm going to find the center of my eye, and I'm going to do a nice, clean black circle. I'm going to leave one little mark in the center to show like that owl has a little sparkle in its eye. That's just my style touch. You can see it's bleeding, which I like that look. Okay, I have thick black. That black goes everywhere. I'm up to the edge. Okay. There's my first owl eye. Now I'm going to do my black on my other owl eye. Okay, so you have now watercolored all your pieces and you're about ready to attach them and create the whole headband, the whole mask, the whole headpiece. But your watercolor paper might be a little wet or damp at the very least. So you need to wait a little bit, and in order for that tacky glue to work, you're going to have to wait. So what I would do is I would get my journal out, I would take a look at my owl references, and I would try and do a few sketches in my journal while it dries. As soon as it is dry, here's what you will do. You're going to use this little wooden stick. You're going to open up your glue, and the first thing you're going to do is you're going to attach your pieces together. This little glue gets a little sticky. Be careful when you open it. Twist lightly, hold it upright. Okay, now I'm ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach my eyebrow to my eye. So I'm just going to see, okay, I don't want to attach it over my eyeball like that. Which direction? All the way up like that? No. All the way down? That looks weird. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that it's pretty even. So I'm touching here and on the top of my eye. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some tacky glue, put it here and here, and maybe wherever it's going to touch. All right. Now I'll go ahead and I'll place my owl eyebrow down, just in the right spot. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna let that firm up, and then I'm gonna move over to the other one, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the same spots. Same spots. All right. I'm gonna go ahead, put this down. Oh, too much, too much. Back up. Back up. Make it look just like the other one. There we go. That's better. Now I have my owl eyes.
Hey, Neil, I'm done drawing my picture.
So yeah, measure your headband to the right position and then gently slide it off. And then you're going to put tacky glue here and you're going to hold it closed about 30 seconds. Let's go ahead.
Mine is still damp. What if
Then
yours
don't
is
do this step yet. If it's still damp, put tacky glue on that spot and I hold it for 30 seconds. All right. Tell a joke, do a one-handed sketch while you're waiting. Gonna get this to set up. Don't do it if it's damp. Wait for the right time.
That's what I was doing.
Okay. All right. I've got my headbands. I've got my eyeballs. I'm gonna go ahead, get those eyeballs and my beak glued on. It's gonna take me 30 seconds to hold that on there. So I'm not gonna put all three of them on at the same time. I'm gonna do one at a time. So I wanna do my eyeballs and then my beak, or actually, you know what? I'll start with my beak because it will be the center. This owl is gonna have a symmetrical face. So go ahead, let's put a dab of tacky glue, a nice healthy dab, and that's where the beak is gonna go. I'm gonna hold that for 30 seconds. Getting my, I can even bend it, kind of curve it a little bit. Bending that watercolor paper. I'm not folding it, I'm just kind of
fish sticks.
softly bending it a little bit. 30 seconds takes a while. Okay, my beak is pretty set. Now, I need my eyeball and my other eyeball. Yes, I'm liking the way this is turning out. Oh, angry owl, sad owl, angry owl, sad owl. Which way should I go? How about just serious owl? Try and get those eyeballs on one at a time. Now, remember, look, they're curving up. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna curve them. It's gonna go to the style of the headband, the curvature of the headband. I curve this one. Okay, got my curvature. And then I'm gonna try and get that eye on either side of my owl headband. So I really do give a nice, you know, about that much glue, and I kind of just smear it on the place. So it has enough space and thickness to attach the eyeball. All right, eyeball number one. I'll hold it for 30 seconds. Might as well keep holding my nose. All right. We'll just hold that on. And then I'll get eyeball number two. And then I'll just kind of hold them on. I'm not going to put this on my head yet. I don't want to break the glue. This glue is called tacky glue. It's flexible. It has some flex in it, but it does have to dry before it can flex. All right, so I've attached both eyeballs and the eyebrows and the beak. So now my headband is ready to go. I can prop it on my head and wear my owl headband with pride. Thanks a lot for doing this lesson with me. We'll see you next time.